What's going on, everybody? This is Patrick from Porter's Unboxings, as you know. And today, guys, we are just going to go over the Inside the Ropes magazine of the late, great Bray Wyatt, 1987 to 2023, his part only. So, let's get into this. We also got All Out, Terry Funk. I think we will go out over Terry Funk as well. The history of the WWE title. So there's Bray Wyatt. There's All In. So let's get this going. You got the last match of CM Punk. He goes over the victory speech, so if you want to read that as well. Cry Me a River. He got suspended. All that. It goes on to the next page with the media scrum. But let's go to page 16, shall we? That's why we're here, right? Why they released Dolph Ziggler. And this was October of this year, so of last year. So wrestling is not a love story. It's a fairy tale for monocrats, a comedy for people who criticize punchlines, a fantasy most can't understand, a spectacle no one can deny. Lines are blurred, heroes are villains, budgets are cut. Business is business. But it can also be a land where dead men walk, where honor makes you elite, where demons run for office, and rock bottom is a reason to rejoice. Woo! Is an escape, a reason to point the blame at anyone else. But for 2 or 3 hours a night, an excuse to be a kid again, and nothing matters except the moment we are in. Wrestling is not a love story. It's much more. It's hope. In a world surrounded in hate, greed, and violence, a world where closure may never come, we all know a place that has hot and cold hope on tap, for better or worse. Wyndham Rotunda once said that. August 7th, 2022. Bray Wyatt, 1987 to 2023. So, let's get into this. Talks about how he couldn't. Asuka shattered around in full ring gear Cesaro as he once joked around, and referee Charles Robinson stopped for a chat about his George Michael obsession. Sat on a table shattered with props, was a shattered old cardboard box, and inside the box was a puppet, what looked like a rubber decapitated figure. I looked at a journalist friend and smeared a face that said, whoever that is, it will never get over. Fast forward a couple hours later, are both the scattered old box and puppets. Mercy the Buzzard appeared on the show. At the point it was a mystery, no explanation, no context. And for 20 seconds, Raw, it was the first tease of what became the Firefly Funhouse. For the writer's money, a finest creative work of the late, great Bray Wyatt's career indeed. It's incredible what Wyatt's real name, Wyndham Rotunda, could pull out of a cardboard box. Wyndham died at the age of 36 on August 24th, was a creative force, often pushing way beyond the boundaries of WWE's creative team. At times, he was very stepped ahead. It was tapped his momentum elsewhere. It seemed like Bray Wyatt's career needed to be pushed on a path of a more focused direction. The scale of reaction to Wyatt when he was released, but when he returned, when he passed away, is testamented to how protected his ideas were. He captivated imaginations for mishandling or misunderstanding his character, or oftentimes just a straight up bad booking. What Wyndham Rotunda did so brilliantly was unique, was break down the parameters of wrestling conversations, allowed other gems in storylines mode to bleed inwards. He was once of a few talented. Today it was Husky Harris who led Wyndham Rotunda to the dark side to become Bray Wyatt. The grandson of Blackjack Mulligan, son of Mike Rotunda, a.k.a. IRS, and the nephew of Barry Windham, he was an undeniable wrestling stock. In FCW, he used various names, including Duke Rotunda, before being packaged as Husky Harris for Season 2 of the original NXT. And you could read the rest of that. Let me get more in here. Man, this guy was great. Wyndham Mercy's character, Don Spidey. FCW became NXT. Bray Wyatt made his debut the following month. The first vignette was Bray in a backwoods perching to a small band of followers. Among them were Luke Harper and a conjuring woman draped over a cottage tree, as an early rare sighting of Sister Abigail, perhaps. The members, and thought it was long before NXT got its rep as a wrestling super show. Super cool place to be the micromanaging of Vince McMahon. The vignettes Rotunda finally confessed were cheap made for a bucket of fried chicken and a quarter. Still, the cult leader incarnates is his most captivating vision of the Bray Wyatt character. Charles Manson, Jim Jones, the Dead Man. Vignettes began airing on Raw in June of 2013 to get to the bottom of all WWE sent out reports of the Wyatt compound. He got a guided tour by Luke Harper, scenes that were from Blair Witch Project, part the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for fans in the mid-set of another John Cena title reign. The Wyatt characters and consent were left field. The Wyatt family made its debut on July 8th of 2013 when they attacked Kane in a Ring of Fire match at SummerSlam 2013. Was not the most inspired opponent, but it was a standard that Vince McMahon booking trick through. If a wrestler gave a passing to a WWE in-house monster like Kane or The Big Show, you knew they were on a track for a push. Wyatt beat Kane with the help of Eric Rowan and Luke Harper and command them to carry him off. That was a tease, but underdeveloped asset. They would go from Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan faced the Usos. Wyatt beat Bryan at the Royal Rumble. It's worth remembering why there was such a buzz at the time. The late 2000s, early 2010s were one of the most creative natures. The Shield showed up in November of 2012. They were subject to the biggest, most periodic push in years. Fresh, exciting, talented, and supported by the actual good creative for once. WWE knew how to make top stars when they could be. When the Wyatt family, the following summer, it was the same. WWE had singly turned into creative corner. That's why the Shield and the Wyatts met in a 6-man tag team match at the Chamber. Just look at these photos. You got Bray Wyatt there. You got the Wyatt family here. Cena and Wyatt. Wyatt and Matt. Wyatt and Orton. Wyatt and Undertaker. You can read all of this. Bray Wyatt was banging rails into a coffin. It says, Port kept fear past Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Wyatt family captured the imaginations of many jaded fans with their backwood character and assessing presentation. You got the Wyatt family there. Then you go into 2015. They brought in Braun Strowman. Took out John Cena. Took out the Brothers of Destruction. Almost took out The Rock. Would take on the New Day in the Wyatt Compound match. Broken Matt Hardy on Final Deletion later in the year. Would win Tag Team Gold. Winning the WWE title at the Chamber. Very good stuff here. And then The Fiend would come out. Let's take a look at that photo. You got Bray Wyatt and Undertaker at WrestleMania. Or at Raw 30. I think. Yeah. WrestleMania 36. October of 2022, and then his final match. Following a feud with Daniel... Ooh. Hold on. Okay. The Firefly Funhouse. First aired in April of 2019, the colorful play school-like was an invention of the Wyatt compound. a flip side of of that reality signified by the opposite of a dark twist on Mr. Rogers. As Bray Wyatt taught kids life lessons in a cast of puppet characters, Mercy the Buzzard, Rambling the Rabbit, Abby the Witch, and Huskus the Pig Boy. When people call Wyndham Rotunda a creative genius, this is surely what they meant. A son of a bitch. A commentary on his own failures and struggles, and in and out of the ring, trauma therapy in moments of crisis, flashes of darkness, do the Muscle Man dance. So you got Yowie Wowie, you got SummerSlam. They even sold this title for $649. And then he was booked to lose the title of Goldberg. Fuck Goldberg for that. In which a supposedly unkillable The Fiend was devastated beating by a 53-year-old man. And then the Firefly Funhouse. And you could read the rest. Yeah. But that is Bray Wyatt. So, if you guys didn't see the rest of this, but this has been Patrick from Porter's Unboxings, just going over the Bray Wyatt magazine and just showing you some pretty cool stuff. But this has been Patrick from Porter's Unboxings, as you know, and I'm out. Peace.